We are here again at Casa Tomada with Sixto Paz, talking about what the unusual of what is often incredible, but for which there is an explanation according to him. And we are going to continue talking about that if this, Sixto, what is automatic writing?
Psychography is a form of instrumentalized telepathy. You receive the mental wave and your brain automatically decodes and interprets. We propose the fact that there are beings that have been visiting the earth since immemorial times and are sending messages. Now, who has not ever heard a message at home because he has heard probably somebody calling him and you ask, Mom, were you calling me? And Mom says, No, but I was thinking of you because I clearly heard your voice that said my name. That is, telepathy exists. That is, you can communicate with the mind, you can see with the eyes, and you can also see with the mind. That is called clairvoyance. You can communicate with the word, but also with the mind. That is called telepathy. You can touch an object, and through touch, know if it is rough, smooth, cold, hot. You can capture the history of the object. That is called dermoptic. Dermo, skin, optic, vision.
Can you see, for example, the aura of all of us?
I mean, if I concentrate, I could see it. And children also see it. They see it too. Children get blocked and stop perceiving the aura, that is the body, the electromagnetic plasmatic field that surrounds people, when they realized that adults do not see it. They also get blocked. Semyon Kirlian, a Soviet electrical engineer, in 1935 developed the Kirlian camera, and now it is more than proven that we are electrical circuits. So we have a magnetic field, but at that time it seemed like a witch thing.
Esotericism.
That's right.
You claim to have had very direct contact, right? Who are the closest ones?
In the year 74, 7 people went to the desert mentioned by them, and these objects appeared. It projected a beam of light. It projected a luminous dome, and I saw a humanoid. I saw a humanoid anthropomorphic being come out, inviting me to come closer. I felt a lot of fear, but when I saw that he was leaving, fearing to lose the experience, I approached and entered the luminous dome. When I met a being about 1 meter 80, his face was slightly wider than ours, very pronounced cheekbones, markedly oblique eyes. He looked like a Korean, a Mongolian, an Oriental. He did gestures with his hands. The communication was mental, and I captured him with complete clarity that he was telling me, Look, I am Oxalk, the same being that was communicating with you from the beginning. And what you have gone through right now, it's a Sendra, a dimensional portal. He told me that the time that I would live there would not correspond to the time here. I have accompanied him, and we have walked, and we have supposedly appeared on one of the 16 moons of Jupiter, 600 million kilometers away from Earth, occupying at 15 to 18 times the horizon in relation to what we saw the Sun, therefore much larger the planet Jupiter. Ganymede, they call it Morlin. Now, I estimate to have been there about 4 or 5 days.
And how much time has passed?
But when I returned, barely 15 minutes had passed, enough time for the group to arrive and see me come out of the light. 2 weeks later, the 7 of us all lived the same experience together, and later, individually. Collectively, we lived the experience, and that same experience was published in the book by Juan Jose Benitez at the end of 74, beginning of 75. 3 years later, on April 25th of 1977, a Chilean Army Corporal Armando Valdez of the Rancagua Regiment was with a group of soldiers patrolling the Putre area in Arica, the northern area of Chile, bordering Peru, where there is a lot of contraband in the desert. When they saw a light that was given in a hill, Corporal Valdez told the soldiers, "Cover me. I'm going to see what it is about." And the very brave man went and penetrated the light inside. After about 15 minutes, he comes out with a beard that has grown several days old and the clock on the date marker in 5 days ahead, but 3 years after our experience. The next 2 years in the life of Cape Valdez were very hard since he remained in a situation of military arrest, apparently for having been to another planet without asking permission from his superiors. It was the time of Pinochet. Now, if you remember the novel Contact by Carl Sagan and the film that he produced, which was directed by Robert Zemeckis, acted by Jodie Foster, Contact or Contacts, and which therefore came out precisely in the month of August, of '97. The teacher it loses in a fraction of a second, but when it recovers it, it has 18 hours of static recording on the video camera over the years 2011. The great accelerator particle that has been built between France and Switzerland, after 3 years of extensive research, scientists have discovered in the month of September of the year 2011, an exhaustive investigation came to the conclusion that the neutrinos, that are the subatomic particles, traveled 60 nanoseconds faster than the speed of light. The speed of light is about almost 300,000 kilometers per second. Is supposedly the limit of physics, and yet these subatomic particles went 16 nanoseconds faster. That is, they arrived before they had left, and there would be no other way to travel through the universe for the enormous distances that exist.
Now, you once took a lie detector test.
Naturally, yes, that is Telecinco from Spain.
But you failed.
Telecinco of Spain invited me to participate in that program. They told me, "Can you come?" I said, "Of course, why not?" Because I went to the program, and the day before they asked me the questions. The day before. They told me, "These are the questions that we're going to ask you." Like when you go to a television program and they ask you these questions, we're going to ask you on the program to see if you agree. Yes, of course. So this is a question. Look here. You already changed the question. This question for me, please. The question says, you travel to another planet. And I say no, because Ganymede is not a planet. It is a moon of Jupiter. It is the same. It is not the same, because I know that under pressure you already have to be convinced of what you're saying so as not to stumble. I know how the polygraph works. At the time the program was made, it said you travel to another planet. You repeated exactly the same question as you had told me the day before. That is, the two answers were going to fail, and the two answers say yes or no. Of course, because I already said it and it made me stumble. Now, regardless of that, the lie detector really tells you if you're lie or not lie. Now, if you see the problem, it is posted in YouTube. Anyone can see it. The technician says Mr. Sixto Paz is not a storyteller or a liar. He has no commercial interest or to manipulate people. But if he has traveled to another planet, it must have been in dreams. That is how the program ends. It does not say, not in that question, the ruling, and he lied. He omitted, then no. You says, Mr. Sixto Paz, he is not a storyteller and not a liar. He has no commercial interest or to manipulate people. So according to the conclusion is that I am a mythomaniac. That is, I am repeating the same song so much that in the end I believed it. Now, if he were only a mythomaniac, he could not invite or accept that as a psychiatrist, invite himself and be with us, and he could go as a journalist and have something appear, because then I would be something like David Copperfield of these issues, right?
Hollywood did your job a lot of damage. that job people like you do?
Well, not, because they have really kept the theme very much in vogue. It is more, there are wonderful films like E.T., The Extraterrestrial, Close Encounters of the Third Type, Cocoon. You have starmen, who are true jewels in the terms of spiritual message, and the best of all is the latest Avatar, wherever the bad guys in the movie are us.
Yes, it is very difficult to live among so many questions and sometimes ridicule.
No, because when you know that this is true and you have been able to prove it, and for the most part, you do not care whether they believe you or not. Why? Because time does not pass for pleasure. Only 500 time does not pass for nothing. Only 500 years ago, the wise men of Salamanca, they told Christopher Columbus, Don Cristobal, please, the earth is not round. If it is as flat as a sheet, if you go to the extreme, you fall. And when he returned, said, remember that we always agree with you? We always supported you. Everyone accommodates. Now, the same scientists who are saying that most likely the case of Frank Drake in 2008 in Barcelona stated that he was convinced that in our galaxy there must be at least 10,000 highly civilizations developed. Frank Drake said it. Then, those same scientists 40 years ago said that no, that the possibilities are ridiculous. We are probably a unique case in the universe and everything. Time does not pass for pleasure. Now, I have already said that the only crime I have committed is having lived a contact experience that not only have I had, many people have lived it worldwide. And I want to say that if I represent one of the most famous extraterrestrial contact groups in the world, I have even been invited to the United Nations twice to speak about these issues. I am Peruvian, and the group started in Peru, and that we have to be proud of. Perhaps I would take me more seriously here in Peru if I were Chilean or if I were suddenly North American.
That is precisely what I wanted to ask you. They believe you more outside than in Peru?
No one is prophet in their own land.
Finally, you travel carrying a message of peace from the aliens.
Look, what I try to convey to people is a message of hope and optimism. If these beings have managed to survive and go through a growth crisis stage like the one we're currently experiencing, we do not have to think that we're going to destroy ourselves. If they succeeded, why are we not? You have to start believing in the good of the human being. There's more good than bad in the world. The problem is that evil is better publicized, nothing more.
Peace from the aliens.
Okay, this.
Many thanks to you for having
Accompanied us.
accompanied us in this different program that has had so much of the worlds that we do not know.
Right. But Lilo, no. Many thanks to you for having accompanied us.
Yeah.
Many thanks to you for having accompanied us in this different program that has had so much of the worlds that we do not know. Read it again.
Okay. Many thanks to you for having accompanied us in this different program that has had so much of the worlds that we do not know. One of the worlds, we are actually closer to the stars because we also have a direct spokesperson with Sixto. Thank you very much for joining us. We will meet next Sunday.
Thank you very much.